What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Must Starts here on the Football Guys YouTube page. My name is Daniel Harms, fantasy film analyst. And if you guys are new here to the channel, hit that sub button. And while you're doing that, step on over to the comment section. I want to know when you guys put up your Christmas lights. When's your favorite time to do it? My wife and I had a discussion, a little bit of an argument about it. We were seeing a ton of Christmas lights up before Thanksgiving, and she says that that's okay. I'm firmly against that. The day after Thanksgiving, that Friday, Black Friday, is when you put up Christmas lights. So tell me your opinions. I want to hear all of them in the comments. And while you're doing that, I also want to hear your favorite non-San Francisco Philly game on the Sunday slate for the NFL. Let's get into it really quickly now. Last week was not a great week for me, so I'm going to bounce back and try to earn more of your guys' likes for this video so we can spread around the rest of fantasy everywhere. Starting off with Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback 5 on Football Guys Weekly Ranks. I know he has not been the best fantasy quarterback over the last month. He's been quarterback 16 and quarterback 19 in points per game over that time. But we look at their matchup. Washington gives up the most points to opposing quarterbacks this season. The last 3 weeks, Dak Prescott at 30 points, Tommy DeVito at 22 points, and Geno had 24 3 weeks ago. Tua is a top 5 graded quarterback on throws that travel 20 plus yards down the field. I remember the game against the Chicago Bears that Washington played on that Thursday night where they were just throwing the ball down the field. That can absolutely happen again, and I've got Tua slated for a bounce-back game. So let's jump into exactly why, because, I mean, we've talked about Tua for a long time. He's perfect for this system that Mike McDaniel runs, and the reason is because he throws with such great anticipation into spots. We know Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, they all have that to the speed to their game, and with the addition of Devin Achane and Raheem Mostert in the backfield, we get to see a bit more of the speed. But they're just going to run a little fade route, slot fade to Tyreek Hill here. You get a little bit of a corner route here. Or excuse me, not a corner route. Curl route. And then over the middle of the field, in this slot right here, reduced split, Jalen Waddle is going to release to the inside and then come release upfield, kind of dagger it with that slot fade, so you get that little bit of an action. So what Tua's reading here is the defense. He's going to look to the middle first, and then he's going to throw it downfield to the spot. When he sees that both of those safeties are up underneath here, you got one crept up on the slot here in the reduced split. The deep safety shifted to the right-hand side, which doesn't make any sense because Tyreek Hill is the fastest player on earth, and he just throws it out there, lets him go get it. So I really do like this offense, what they're doing. I know they've been kind of back and forth this past month, like we talked about with Tua, but against the Jets right here, throwing it downfield against a better secondary, I think Tua has improved in his game quite a bit, and this is one of the reasons why. He has good pocket movement. Now, there's a difference between pocket feel and pocket movement. Right here, it's pocket movement because he's evading pressure, evading players from the side he's looking at. So that pocket movement here, he's going to use his peripheral vision to see I've got pressure in here. There's nothing here. So I'm going to use it a little bit, sidestep up here, and then he's going to throw this to a spot down the field off of the break of Jalen Waddle, step up, boom, throws it downfield in between those defenders. Very good anticipatory throw once again to a spot down the field. Let Jalen Waddle go get it. I like what they're doing here, spacing out the defense. They're moving, again, 3 receivers to one side and hitting it back hitting it down the field when you're moving those corners and safeties around and throwing it into spots. But the biggest reason, again, we talked about the Washington defense off the top. These Miami Dolphins can score from anywhere on the field because they're just so explosive, and that's why you always want to play Tua Tagovailoa. I know, again, he's been a rough go the last couple of weeks, but this is just a fun offense to watch. Like, you have these two these two bracketed receivers here to Tyreek Hill. They're going to motion one of them to the inside, and then he's going to just take off underneath here, kind of go across the field. The reduced split is going to widen to the outside, sit down, and what does that do? It stretches the defense horizontally, okay? And then Tyreek Hill, boom, is going to take all that space that was created from the movement, from that shifting there, and then from the routes. And then it's all said and done when you have the robber underneath on the opposite side coming down here instead of being back here. Tua does a great job, again, of noticing the space, throwing it in there, Tyreek adjusting to the throw, makes a big play. all the way in for a touchdown. So that's why Tua is my must-start quarterback of the week. I think that they're going to have a big bounce-back game where they're going to want to put up points and remind everybody against a bad team that they can dominate those bad teams. Their record against good teams is not great, but against bad teams, they typically dominate. So this is it. Tua's back this week. We've got him ranked as the quarterback 5 in those weekly ranks. Put him in your lineups and be good to go against the Washington Commanders. The running back I'm talking about this week is one that I'm not a huge fan of, but I can't ignore what he's doing. I can't ignore the volume. I can't ignore who they're playing. Rachaad White, we have him ranked as running back 11 on Football Guys weekly ranks. In the last month, he has 64 rushes for 254 yards, adding 16 targets and 14 receptions for 131 yards and 4 total touchdowns. He's been scoring touchdowns in bunches over the last month. He really wasn't scoring touchdowns earlier in the season, but they've gotten him. They have no other running backs to really go through. Their offensive line has been better, and he has been the running back 2 over the last month and RB4 in points per game. Carolina is 3rd in points given up to running backs. That's why I'm talking about him this week. Again, that's why I can't ignore what we're seeing here from Rachaad White. A really nice play design from the Buccaneers that get a little bit lucky here in this stretch zone. It's supposed to go out to the left. You get a little bit of a miscue here from the offensive line. Not really the offensive line. This defensive tackle is going to jump inside the gap here. Going to trip up himself a little bit. But what he's doing is, again, they're running this stretch zone. The way that they open up this B gap right here, and the intention of Rachaad White out that way is going to move the defense over as well. You're going to not block this player right here, 50-54. So essentially they have 2 players unblocked, but they're just going to get to the next level and create this little bubble at the next level on the right-hand side and let Rachaad White find that with his feet, his vision, and he's going to work. See, there's that intention. You have this defensive player coming down, filling the void, and then, we have 3 different players that can help all of these defensive players out here. So again, a good job being patient, recognizing I'm going to kind of wind this back a little bit, get upfield, grind out some yards. Good job from their offensive line and everyone there on that play just to get him going for a 10-yard gain. That's what they've done really well, is grind out yards. He's not the most explosive guy. He's not the best athlete, but I think behind this offensive line, they create plays. They've done a really good job, like I said, of making those plays. And he is a better athlete behind the line of scrimmage than I've given him credit for. This is a really nice job manipulating that incoming linebacker here. This is just going to be a single back power. So power is this direction. They're going to pull number 64 down. They're not going to block. I believe it's this player. Let me really wind this through because it could be the tackle. Yeah, no, it's the defensive end. It's typically the defensive end. So you have him coming down. He's going to get blocked here. Then you have a free rusher down in this gigantic hole. And Rachaad White's going to do, again, a good job of being patient here, bringing him in. You press the gap, make him think he's going to tackle you, and then you bounce it. Right here on the side of our screen, this is Chris Godwin, who's not only going to end up walling off number 32, but he's taking a man coverage defender with him. This is a really nice job, again, of getting to the outside, bouncing it out. The Buccaneers typically run the ball up the middle because they don't have that explosive playability. This is another one of those areas of growth for Rachaad White, seeing the field a little bit better and balancing that to the outside to create the explosive run play there. So the offensive line paired with the ability to kind of continuously run the ball up the middle and force these linebackers to come up and then bounce it to the outside, I think can be in huge play against the Panthers. And then we talked about his catching percentage. Like, he's been catching the ball well, 14 catches on 16 targets, and this is just one of the areas they want to utilize Rachaad White. He's a good pass catcher. He's not the best pass blocker. So when he's on the field in those passing situations, which he typically is, he's either running a route or he's getting the ball. He's not blocking a ton because he's not great at it. So he can take these balls to the house too, because again, he's not the most explosive player, but he has that ability to run away into space. He's more of he's definitely more of a winder back. He likes to move within space, move out of space, and not really stop on a dime and cut up field. So I like what they're doing with Rachaad White, and they have leaned into him as being the guy. He didn't have 20 touches or didn't have 20 rushes earlier in the season at all. And over the last month, 2 games with 20 rushes, and he's getting a lot of the touches in Tampa Bay. So He's definitely a guy you have to start at this point. We do have him ranked as the running back 11. I think he's going to finish higher as he's continued to do so over the past month. Start Rachaad White. The volume matched up with the offensive line and the bad matchup against the Carolina Panthers. In for a boom week for Rachaad White. And now we're going to hit over into the receiver category. I love both of these players that I'm going to talk about, but for different reasons. Deebo Samuel, wide receiver 15 on Football Guys weekly ranks. You guys know he had a little bit of an injury earlier in the season, but right now looks healthy. They're involving him in a ton of different ways like they always do. He's coming off of 9 target, 7 game reception against the Seattle Seahawks, where he's added a rushing score. He's got rushing touchdowns in 2 out of the last 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he has. Philly has also allowed the most points to wide receivers this season, and they're really utilizing him in the best ways for him. Yak positions and then big digs over the middle of the field. Those big dig routes. I love what I'm seeing out of the San Francisco offense. It's back on its vibe train. So let's talk about it. Again, Deebo Samuel is a fun player. They line him up all over the place. In the backfield with Christian McCaffrey here, they're going to motion Christian McCaffrey out to the stack formation here, then back into the line of scrimmage, and really just confuse the defense here. And this is a really fun play. It's getting him into space. Deebo Samuel is one of the best space players, just players in the NFL. And when we get this little bit of a movement here, watch the defense with Christian McCaffrey possibly faking that touch pass that we've seen the Chiefs made famous, and then everyone kind of took it. This is one of the plays that you're going to see the linebacker take aim of, and then you also have a little bit of RPO fake on the opposite end here, which George Kittle is going to open this gap up. They just want to move these players out here and get Deebo Samuel into that space, or just give Brock Purdy a very easy read. So you have come down, he comes down quick, all right, space, but also linebackers paying attention to Christian McCaffrey because he is on the move. You never really know. They could also use Deebo Samuel as a puller, a blocker in many different ways, but this is just simple, easy touchdown for him. A lot of fun what they're doing, moving around their pieces and getting them in best positions to succeed. All of their players are scoring points. Everyone, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, all of them. And then, again, Deebo Samuel running actual good routes for him on this 2-man route here. You've got Brandon Ayuk on the opposite side, and they're running more of this dagger concept, the clear out from Brandon Ayuk and hitting that dig route over the middle of the field from Deebo Samuel, who's celebrating on the end here. But again, this is a max protect essentially. You've got everyone down here running to the left. You've got the Brock Purdy coming back out here to his right, and then it's all space. You use the play action to create this. This is what you want. And then, because it's cover 3 look, you know you have one bracket player here, safety going with the big player with Brandon Ayuk because he's going to the space. And then look, there's so much area over the middle of the field. Unless this trailing player sees Deebo Samuel, which he doesn't, because he's too busy worrying about getting back with Brandon Ayuk down the field, he's got no chance of getting to this play. So big plays over the middle of the field into yak positions like we're going to talk about right now is why the Deebo vibes are back. They're using him in so many fun different ways. And again, he can just kind of accelerate through players like he does right there. So much fun. That end around, using him in the backfield, lining him up as a tight end, lining him up as a wide receiver, lining him up anywhere and moving him all around the formation is what he does best. And that's why Deebo Samuel, and now once again for me, back to being a must-start player in the San Francisco offense. He's healthy, they look really good, and they've got a big game against Philadelphia where they could be putting up a lot of points. I think that that defense can be gotten, and I think San Francisco can do a lot of the same things that the Buffalo Bills did in throwing the football, even in the rain, against that defense with some injuries that they've got to deal with. So must-start player for me at wide receivers, Deebo Samuel against the Philadelphia Eagles. Last player today, one of my favorites. He just always knows how to win. He gets open so many different ways. Diontae Johnson. He's wide receiver 24 on the Football Guys weekly ranks. In the last three out of the last 4 weeks, he has 8 or more targets. He has become and taken back the crown of being the most trusted wide receiver to Kenny Pickett. He can get open quickly. He's that go-to guy. Remember a few weeks ago we talked about the struggle target? One of those players is Diontae Johnson to Kenny Pickett. And Pittsburgh finally broke the 400-yard marker for their offense for the first time since I think it was 2021, 2020-ish area. That's fantastic for them. They're starting to feel a little bit better, free of Matt Canada and the monkeys off their back. They've got a great matchup against the Cardinals secondary, and they've been talking this week about how, yeah, it's great to have 400 yards, but it's about scoring points. That's what I'm about looking at towards this Cardinals matchup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They want to score points. So how do you score points? Well, it's good to run the football, but I also think it's really good to target one of your better wide receivers in the end zone. This should have been a touchdown. I know that we're still trying to figure out how touchdowns work in the NFL. I think it's weird that you can lose the football across this line right here, but cross it, and it's a touchdown. But if you don't hold it down here after you've put 2 steps in, it's not a touchdown. Very weird things. But let's stop talking about it because this is a very good play design here from the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to take Allen Robinson, vertically stretch the field, also moving this safety out of the way a little bit. But he's going to take this to the middle of the field and then kind of bracket it out to the right. The inside receiver is going to chip, which is Darnell Washington. He's going to go out to the flat. And the key difference here is the stem job from Diontae Johnson, who's going to stem this to the inside a little bit and then take it back to stem it to the outside and then break it to the inside, widening that corner and in that space between him and the safety and giving Kenny Pickett a window to throw this football in. So the great job here at the top, gives him a little bit of a head fake, shoulder fake, boom, and it's open for a touchdown. Again, should have been a touchdown. Good play from DJ Turner comeback to break that football up, making it result in an incompletion, but at the end of the day, should have been a touchdown. I think we all kind of agree with that. So we have a different matchup for him here. You've got press man coverage. You have a deep safety in the middle of the field. So we're going to take a shot down the right sideline. Nice job here. Inside jab step, boom, releases to the outside, and then Kenny drops this in the bucket to Diontae down the field. Fantastic play from him being able to not just get open, but accelerate past. I think that's something people have forgotten about Diontae Johnson, is that he's not just a quick twitch guy. He does have that acceleration to beat defensive backs down the field. And a few years ago, the big talking point about Diontae Johnson was, well, he drops the football so much. He doesn't score touchdowns. He should have 2 touchdowns this year. You know, he did get the touchdown monkey off his back against the Titans. But I love this. It's very simple. It's off coverage. It's nothing crazy. It's just an over route over the middle of the field. It's not a deep developing route. But watch the catch. The catch is what this is all about. Away from the body, towards the ground. He catches that and pulls it in for a first down on 3rd down. That's the difference here. Diontae Johnson only has 2 drops this year. I don't necessarily call all of them drops. He had 2 of them earlier in the season against Jacksonville, but regardless, that was a rainy game. We kind of take some of that for granted, but he's catching the football right there. That's just fantastic work. Away from the body, down closer to the field while he's running, and then he's able to get up and get the first down. I know it's Kenny Pickett. I know it's Pittsburgh's offense. I think they're feeling much better. They're feeling free. And again, this matchup against the Cardinals, you play him on the outside, you can play him on the inside. They've been using Diontae Johnson a lot more on the outside, but he is still a slot receiver and outside receiver, a multifunctional tool that can score points. And with those 8 targets in the last 3 out of the 4 games, I think he's going to continue to put up points, and I think that he's live to get in the end zone this week with the Pittsburgh Steelers wanting to put up a lot of points against the Cardinals. Start Diontae Johnson. I think he's in for a big week. I hope you guys enjoyed this video film breakdown. I love doing them every single week. Even if we're not going to hit every single time, getting into the film and breaking it down for you guys is one of the best parts of my week. Hope that I was able to earn a like from you guys. And before you hit that way out, again, one more time, if you're new to the channel, hit that sub. Hit the like for us very much. We thank you very much for those. Get us out to the rest of the fantasy community with these videos. Have yourselves a fantastic week. We'll see you next week for more must-start players. Have a great Sunday.